we'll cover how to create, format, and analyze data using Excel tables. Excel tables can be used to make managing and analyzing related data or data with multiple columns and rows easier. So here, the data set that we'll be using is the top 100 companies in the world ranked in terms of revenues. So right now, this data is just regular data. It's not in a table. So first thing we will need to do is we need to convert this into an Excel table. How do we do that? So first thing is we'll need to select this data, and there are multiple ways to select data quickly. I've shown you this in my prior videos, and just a quick recap, you can select the first row here and just press the shift control and then the arrow down on your keyboard to select everything. Or you could just press Control A. So that selects all your data from the top to the bottom. That's a quicker one. Or you could manually just drag all the way down to select the area, but it's not the efficient way of doing it. Like technically that will take a lot of time. So Control A will do the job. So then you go into inside the pane there, click inside, hover over here, you'll see table, click table, then it will select all the area. Now, if you look at this pop-up menu here that says create table, it's selecting the whole area, showing you the area that the table will be created on. And also it has this, my table has headers. That's correct. Our first row here is the details, and there's the header. It defines what exactly comes next: the ranking, company revenue, the stock price, and the country that the company is in. So this looks good, so we click OK. And then that is now an Excel table. Now it is having these alternating colors, which makes it easy to follow through. Like you can easily read through that this is Walmart, and it's easy to see that the 600 billion revenue belongs to Walmart, and the price is $141.71. That's the stock price, and Walmart is in the United States. So the alternating colors make it easy to read through the data, unlike what we had before. Now we've created this Excel table. Basically, that is it. And you could decide to check the formatting. When you click in the table, this is the table design on the menu here. There are many things that you can do. And one of the things that I wanted to recommend you play with is the format of the table. What works for you, pick that. So I like the gray alternating colors here. So it makes it easy for me to read through the numbers. Plus gray is my favorite color. So I'll just expand this a little bit to capture everything. So now we have an Excel table. I would recommend that you go by yourself and just play with the various formatting that you can apply to an Excel table and see what works for you depending on what analysis you're doing. Now, another thing that I want to show you is right now the default name for this table is table 8. I want to give it more meaning. So when you hover over table design, go to the table name and give it a name. So I want to name this as top underscore revenue underscore companies. And just click out. Now we've created an Excel table. Now let's do more formatting to this Excel table. When you click on the table and you go back to the table design, there are many options that you can see over here. Right now, it's saying the header row is checked. If you uncheck it, then it doesn't show it anymore. If you check it, it brings it back. So we need that. So right now, the banded rows is the alternating colors that you're seeing. I'll uncheck it and you'll see. If you uncheck it, everything just, is plain. If you check it, then it now does the alternating colors. Now, if you check this first column here, it bolds your first column, which is the ranking. So if that's something that you want, just check that first column. And if you check the last one, it does it to the last column here. And if you wanted additional readability, you can actually check the banded columns. So then it's just banding all of this, so it makes it easier for you to follow through this ones only and those ones only. So this one's like the revenue is banned and the country is banned and the ranking too. So the alternating colors will make it easy for you to follow the companies that are here versus the stock prices. But if you don't need that, all you need to do is uncheck it. So then you realize that one of the key things with Excel tables is your ability to filter, right? Like if you look at this and you want to filter, for example, a certain company, it's easy. You literally can come and just filter through and pick the company you want to look at. And you could decide to sort it A to Z, Z to A. You could sort by color and you could do additional filters, especially with the numbers. You could decide to filter and set a condition, and then you could say, for example, greater than let's say 400, and you click OK. So it just filters like every company that has revenue greater than 400 billion. So quickly you can dice your data anyhow you want, and by default Excel tables will add that filter function for you. So then you could decide to play additional formatting. We already looked at those, but you could play with any one of these and see how it makes your data look. Now let's do more analysis to this table. Let's say we want to add cost of goods sold, COGS. One of the advantages of using Excel table is the ability to just automatically expand. So before your last column was F, now you want COGS, you type it there, automatically Excel table will add a column for you. If you do the same thing on the rows, let's say if you have not a company and now this is 101, automatically it just adds an additional row. So that auto way of just knowing that you want an additional row or column and just adding the formatting and everything is one key thing that you'll have an Excel table that you do not find in the regular spreadsheet. I'll just undo that. I still want to do my COGS. So assuming that the cost of goods sold is a percent of revenue, we can just assume that the cost of goods sold is 10% of revenues. So here we'll just type plus or equal and just click that, which is revenue, our reference. We need to multiply it by 10%, 0.1. Then we press enter. So what it does, which is another power of Excel table, it calculates everything for us all the way down, replicating what we did in the first cell. So unlike in the regular Excel where you have to type that formula and then autofill it, this does it automatically for you. Let's add another column again. Let's say this is gross margins. So that's another one again. So here our margins is revenue minus the cost of goods sold. So same thing. And if you remember, we had formatted the last column as bold. That's why that is carrying on bold. So it's so consistent. I could decide not to bold this. I'll just do that. The last column bold is out. So this is like one way that you can add fields or columns, and Excel table will just automatically replicate your formula as well as add a row or column whenever you type in the next cell or column. So now let's do more with this. Let's add a slicer. So what we want to do is we want to have the power with just one click to look at a certain sample. Like because we have like 100 companies, we might actually just want to dice this in a certain way. So I want to look at this data with a slicer for countries, and this is going to be fun. So right now, this is the slicer. Let's format this slicer. A slicer is like an advanced kind of filter. It allows you to play with the data by just clicking on a certain criteria. So I'll click on that slicer and you insert the slicer by just going to table and clicking on the table, go to table, design, and this is slicer. So just insert slicer and then check the box for whatever criteria you want to insert the slicer for. I want to do that for country, so I just click country and then I click OK. I drag it over here, and then what I'm going to do now is format this slicer. So this slicer right now is just in one column. I want it to be in 4 columns. So right now I want to expand it like that. Okay. I want to make sure that all the names of these countries show up. Okay, now we have the total number of countries that are on here. So what can we do with this? With a slicer, if I want to see only companies, countries, China, like companies that actually are in China, all I need to do is just click China. So right now, the table is just giving me China. So if I want to see, okay, how many countries on these top 100 companies in terms of revenue are actually in China, this is it, 17. Now, if I want to see India, it's 3. If I want to see Germany, it's 9. If I want to see Finland, they have 1. So that's one way you could just toggle Argentina. So now we want to see multiple, because sometimes you want to pick multiple countries and see, okay, how many countries do we have on this list that are in these countries? So let's click there. Now it's a list. Now we can check USA and Argentina. See, because those are the 2 that I have, I can just clear that filter. Now let's go. Filter out Brazil. We do not want Brazil to show. We do not want China to show. We do not want USA to show. So how many countries do we have left? So let's clear that filter. Now you've seen you can easily use just one individual filter through the slicer and only see US, Argentina. Oh, you can do multiple. Like you could do multiple excluding, multiple including Finland. So a slicer is a very powerful tool. Like individually, you could slice and dice this data just by just clicking Germany and the likes, or you could do multiple by just doing multiple select here. And if you want to clear it out, all you need to do is just click that. So this is one way that you can get more out of your Excel table. Another way for doing the same thing is you could come over here and just filter out a certain country. But I find using a slicer much more easier, since all you need to do is just click and it will do the magic for you. So the next thing I want to look at is, how do we add a condition to an Excel table? So let's say we wanted to see which of these companies are market movers and which of these companies are non-market movers. And for this exercise, a market mover would just be a company that when its stock price changes or its revenue switches, it affects, the stock market. So, and the goal is to say these large companies can move the market. So let's say we have, I'll call that as class. Excel table adds a column for us. Now the condition is going to be equal if, so it's an if condition, if revenue is greater than 300 million, then condition, what it will return is market mover, otherwise non-market mover. So what we just defined here is if revenue is greater than 300, return it's a market mover. Otherwise, return it's a non-market mover. And close it. So right now, you see that it has now classified all of the companies in terms of market mover and non-market movers. So this is one way that you could add more, color to your work. You can write conditions, and whatever that you write here, like the if statement that we wrote here, it just replicates it for you all the way down. So you do not have to really, hustle or struggle to do this. So one of the key benefits that you get from Excel tables is the ability to automatically just do calculations, add logics quickly. Another one is that the headers are frozen, so you do not have to worry about, wondering what is the header for. Okay, when you're really just scrolling through a large file or a large spreadsheet and you scroll down, at some point you start wondering, what is this 172? What is the description? Right now in the Excel table, you see the headers. They do not really disappear. They're right there. So even if you go up to the 100, the last one, the Bank of China, you still know that the 93.10 billion is revenue and the $0.48 is price. And this is in country China. So that's a very powerful thing to have, because then you don't have to go back and forth scrolling up again to read what is the head or the description for that specific row of data. And also the alternating colors are amazing, and the ability to filter through the data easily is another thing. Write conditions quickly, also expanding. It's very easy. Like as you saw, once we type something here, it just expands automatically. So you do not really have to insert anything like so. And also another thing that I want to show you in terms of benefits is if you come over here and you click on the total row, it inserts a total here. So now with this total, if you click here, you have options. You could do a count, average, like you could play with all of these formulas. Let's say we wanted to see the average revenue for this whole data set. We just click that. Here's 178 billion. If you wanted to see the max, which is the highest, that is 600. If you wanted to see the minimum, is 93.1 billion. So whether this is sorted or not, you could easily use this functions here to analyze and dice your data anyhow. It's just summing up everything here. The count will just be 100 since that's what we have. And you could do the same in any of these columns here to analyze them. The gross margin, you could do average, mean, max. So you don't even have to write the formula, which is a key thing, especially if you have a large data set. So so far we have covered how to create, expand an Excel table, how to analyze data using an Excel table, how to format data appropriately using an Excel table. There's so many features that you could use with Excel tables, and all you have to do is explore more. Let me know what you think about this video. Thank you.